The sprinter behind me usually represents the epitome of competition in the Big 12, but on Tuesday, instead of last-second Monte Morris three-pointers, it was all handshakes, high fives, and smiles as players, coaches, and media from around the Big 12 gathered to preview the 2015-16 season. So what's the big deal with turf? Well, if I take a tomato and rub it on OSU's field, Bermuda Hybrid Tifway 419, it's good enough to eat. But if I rub it on turf, it turns to salsa faster than you can find a corrupt FIFA official. Of all the hazards in golf, even those bunkers at St. Andrews, it's said that fear is the worst. Unlike other sports, there's no one directly opposing you or a crowd trying to intimidate. Instead, it's just you, a hunk of steel, and a little white ball. And sometimes that's worse. So what's the key for Nabrigi to stay out of his own way?
Joining us now via Skype is DJ Jeskins, West Virginia football beat writer for the Daily Athenaeum. DJ, let's start with what is life like for a program like West Virginia competing in the Big 12, and they're 850 plus miles away from their nearest conference opponent?
DK played in 2 matches for the Super Falcons this summer, and though Nigeria didn't make it out of a tough group that included both Sweden and eventual champions United States, there's plenty of hope for the future, with 19 of the 23 squad members under the age of 25. For the Poke Report, I'm Zach Baden.
When the pressure's on and you're trying to do something that hasn't been done for 7 years, how do you respond? Oklahoma State golfer Jordan Niebrugge was trying to become the first amateur at the Open Championship to at least finish in the top 10 since 2008. And he wasn't alone. Irishman Paul Doon was the first amateur to lead the Open heading into the final round in 88 years. And each would have a very different story on the final day at St. Andrews. The weight of the moment appeared to get to Doon, who started with back-to-back bogeys, wasn't able to recover, and finished with a 78. Meanwhile, Niebrugge held his own and was within 3 strokes of the lead on the back 9, ultimately ending up 11 under for the tournament. Good for 6th place and the silver medal for the tournament's top amateur.
I only hit it in 1 bunker all week, which was, I would say, the biggest part of my success there. And with doing that, I think our game plan was great, just to keep it out, because you had a lot of wedges in, and you could kind of attack from the fairway, and I think that was the biggest key.
Of all the hazards in golf, even those bunkers at St. Andrews, it's said that fear is the worst. Unlike other sports, there's no one directly opposing you or a crowd trying to intimidate. Instead, it's just you, a hunk of steel, and a little white ball. And sometimes that's worse. So what's the key for Nabrigi to stay out of his own way?
Speed, power, adaptability. Common adjectives describing OSU women's soccer forward Courtney DK. They enticed coach Colin Carmichael to recruit her to OSU from Edmond North High School, twice prompted the Big 12 to name her Offensive Player of the Week as a freshman, and now they're bringing the attention of the Nigerian national team and the world.
They had seen my video on YouTube, and they hadn't responded to it for a while, but I randomly got an email with an invitation to team camp, and everything started from there.
That call-up was for the Under-20 World Cup after her freshman year. Choosing to represent the country of her parents' birth, Nigeria, over hers, she's made the most of her chance, scoring twice, including the fastest goal in the tournament's history, 18 seconds in during a 2-1 win over South Korea. This summer she was called again, but instead for the senior national team, making DK the first man or woman born in Oklahoma to play in a World Cup.
It's a huge adjustment, definitely, because the players are the best in the world, some of the fastest, the strongest, most technical players, but at the end of the day, it's also soccer.
The opposition wasn't the only challenge. Canada 2015 was the first major FIFA tournament to be played entirely on artificial turf. DK says coping with the change proved equally as difficult.
It was definitely an issue in the beginning, because you don't want to go into tackles as much. You don't want to play as aggressive, take as many risks because of the injuries. It's so easy to get injured, but at one point we all just decided we had to deal with it, and we just forgot about it and tried to focus on the game.
DK and her teammates weren't the only ones unhappy with the surface. Before the tournament, more than 40 players, including U.S. national team stars, sued FIFA in a discrimination lawsuit, but withdrew it before the tournament.
So what's the big deal with turf? Well, if I take a tomato and rub it on OSU's field, Bermuda Hybrid Tifway 419, it's good enough to eat. But if I rub it on turf, it turns to salsa faster than you can find a corrupt FIFA official.
Need more proof? U.S. forward Sydney Leroux posted this picture to Twitter showcasing how the fields had turned her lakes to tomatoes. Despite the tough conditions, Carmichael says his player and the whole team will benefit from the experience.
So I think it's a win-win. We'll take what Courtney's benefited from them and hopefully, incorporate that into what we do and make us a better attacking team.
You don't have as much time to think at that level, so it's definitely something I had to adapt to, and it's something that's helped me here grow as a better player, and hopefully I'll play a lot quicker, and hopefully that'll help our team do better this season.
DK played in 2 matches for the Super Falcons this summer, and though Nigeria didn't make it out of a tough group that included both Sweden and eventual champions United States, there's plenty of hope for the future, with 19 of the 23 squad members under the age of 25. For the Poke Report, I'm Zach Baden.
I personally enjoy playing in front of crowds. It's something that I like to do. I felt pretty calm out there. I think a lot of that was helped to already playing in the Masters and in the John Deere and in the Walker Cup. All those experiences kind of build up, and I wasn't as nervous as I was in those previous tournaments. So it was awesome.
For proof of this, one need only follow him through a normal day of practice at Karsten Creek. It's clear that Niebrugge possesses some showmanship and love of the spotlight, a Phil Mickelson-like quality that allows him to hit incredible shots after getting himself in trouble, like this chip for a beautiful par save. And then he really dazzled us.
Oh! Oh my. Come on, baby!
208 yards out with a 4-iron, he buried it for an ace on number 7. What may be more impressive and more telling about his ability to succeed is how little the senior cowboy reacted to one of the best shots of his life. The casual manner in which he retrieved the ball surprised even his teammates and coach. Niebrugge passed up a chance to turn professional after his big summer and chose to come back and finish his degree at OSU. He says that his time at Oklahoma State has been crucial to his development, but still has plenty of room to grow and improve.
A lot of the guys, they don't hit it much better than me, but they definitely save strokes and more than me, and are able to get things going a little faster. So it's something I think I need to work on.
Also add some unfinished goals to the list of reasons for his return.
We have not won the Big 12 title since I've been here, so that is something that I've always wanted to do.
Niebrugge will try to show just how far he has come, attempting to lead the 12th-ranked Cowboys to a 55th conference championship, but would be the first under Coach Alan Branton. For the Poke Report, I'm Zach Baden.
Here's Morris. Morris, the shot to win it.
6 months ago, we saw the Iowa State men's basketball team cut down the nets at the 2015 Big 12 Basketball Championship. Most heralded the strength of the conference last season, citing top RPI rankings and number of teams in the NCAA tournament. With 4 of the 5 All-Big 12 team returning this season, including Player of the Year Buddy Hield, many thought it would continue to be the most competitive league in the nation, despite Kansas winning its 11th consecutive regular season title.
The sprinter behind me usually represents the epitome of competition in the Big 12, but on Tuesday, instead of last-second Monte Morris three-pointers, it was all handshakes, high fives, and smiles as players, coaches, and media from around the Big 12 gathered to preview the 2015-16 season.
Oklahoma State was picked to finish 7th in the preseason poll after finishing 6th last year. Coach Travis Ford says that this year's team will look extremely different.
Except for Phil Forte, everybody's going to have a different role, or they're brand new to the whole system. But we've seen improvement, which is always fun for a coach.
The pressure of replacing 3 senior starters didn't stop Coach Ford and the Cowboys from enjoying themselves. The Big 12 set up a social media lounge to connect with fans, and Ford certainly gets an A for effort on the emoji impression. Other coaches kept a lighthearted mood as well. For West Virginia's Bob Huggins, the event was more than just talking up his team. It was about making a fashion statement. Huggy Bear immediately turned heads sporting blue pants with embroidered West Virginia logos and wasn't shy about their origin.
I went to graduation. I had to do a little speaking thing at graduation, and President Gee came in with a pair of pants on like this, and I thought, boy, that's a great idea for Media Day. So I ordered me a pair.
Even though some of the league's biggest stars returned, a lot of the attention was focused on new faces. Shaka Smart arrived this summer at Texas and says that it's a challenge to adapt his trademark run-and-gun style from VCU to one of the biggest lineups in the country in Austin.
We have a lot of big guys that we think can be really good players for us and contribute to success. But then we also have a lot of perimeter guys that we can play with great depth. So if those guys, again, can buy into the system of playing with great aggressiveness and enthusiasm, togetherness, then we'll have a chance to do some big things.
Up in Ames, Iowa State was forced to find a replacement after Fred Hoiberg departed for the Chicago Bulls. Enter former Murray State coach Steve Prohm, who, like Smart, came to notoriety bringing a mid-major to prominence. Now he faces the expectations of a preseason top 10 ranking.
Obviously, we've got a lot of expectations, but that's a good thing. That's a credit to what they've done over the last several years, the job Fred did, the job this senior class has done. You know, my focus and my mindset with these guys is let's be great today, let's win the day, max out our job.
The other major talking point across all programs was the substantial change in college basketball rules. Coordinator of officials Curtis Shaw says the re-implementation and expansion of the freedom of movement rules and the 30-second shot clock will significantly alter the game.
We somehow lost focus on the fundamental skills, and we're going to try to bring that back. We also understand this is going to be a painful process. The NCAA is doing a media blitz that'll come out as the season goes on, talking about we understand this could hurt early. This may look ugly at times, and it may take getting used to. But for the first time, they're willing to stomach it and live through it.
Ford said he was less concerned and didn't think the changes would be as drastic as conference officials had said.
You know, we've had referees come in twice already, but they weren't calling what I just heard. But they're learning too. It's not their fault at all. Everybody's learning.
Senior guard Phil Forte said the emphasis on calling illegal screens is challenging for a Cowboys offense to adapt to that depended so much on them last year.
We're going to have to work on the guy that has the ball is going to have to be really patient and wait for the screen to set, and the big man's going to have to make sure his feet are set when he screens. So, you know, that's something that's going to probably take time. I'm sure the refs are it's going to take some time for them to get used to it. It's going to take us some time to get used to it. So we're going to have to see how they call it, you know, and then kind of adjust from there.
Cowboys fans will have their first chance to see these rules in action in an exhibition against East Central on November 6th, and they open up the regular season at home with UT Martin on the 13th. For the Poke Report, I'm Zach Baden.